Oh, let's try this again. Part two. Something happened last week. First couple minutes of the show, I went to this connectivity issue and it was lingering, whereas usually it pops up for a second and then goes down. I really want a new computer for my birthday. I doubt I'll get it if I asked for it, but this is ridiculous that I have to deal with this every week. Not that you really care about it, but it's causing me to not really enjoy doing the show as much anymore because I have to wait and split up the episode and all this bullshit. So I'm tired of all the crap. Anyway, it's May 23rd, 2021. Welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 403, Once Bitten, Twice Vaccinated, which, as I said earlier, is, I think, one of my most impressive and best titles I came up with. I thought it was clever anyway. Main reason why is because this week I was vaccinated for the second time against the COVID-19. I got my Moderna dose. Took the next day off to make sure if there were any side effects that wouldn't affect my work. Turned out I had a headache the size of Montana that kept me waylaid for the most part on that day. They told me at the vaccination site to take Tylenol if you have a flare-up like that. I usually don't take Tylenol because it really doesn't work for me. So I said, okay, I'll do it. I bought some Tylenol there. I took it. Didn't help a lick. So after about a 24, 28-hour time window after I got my vaccination on Thursday night, I was like, I gotta take my regular headache medicine because this Tylenol is not helping any. So I took that and I woke up in the morning and voila, no headache. Now, is it a coincidence? Possibly, but it could also be that my Advil is better suited for a headache than the Tylenol is. So regardless, it doesn't matter. Today, I want to do a quick shout out to my friend Gary Harris. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Gary. So you have a nice week off this week. Enjoy it. Next weekend is Memorial Day weekend. So it'll be the first 3-day weekend that I will have since Easter. So that's always nice. And then that leads us into the beginning of meteorological summer. And the halfway point of this year is rolling in here really quickly. And also my birthday month is coming up. The kids are getting out of school and all kinds of stuff. And before you know it, summer's going to roll through. It's going to be fall again, and the greatest time of the year will be showing up. But to this point, we don't have that going on right now. Let's get moving on this so I don't have any more of these computer issues. Hopefully it'll stay away. I highly doubt it, but let's be hopeful. Like my new Hawaiian shirt, I like it. One of 3 I bought this weekend. I kind of enjoy it. So it's not the best view of it, but you can actually see it's like an island view when you see the full body thing. But we don't do full body here. Anyway, we got lots of stuff to talk about. The Mtv Awards, Predator 5, Tabasco, 4th of July, Dave Fallonia, NFL, Knives Out 2, Fungus, Batman, Superman, of course, Charles Grodden, Disney. Yeah, so I got 3 pages worth of stuff. So if we go through here, Jimmy Dean, barbecue, Fritos. Just want to make sure I got that right. Fritos. 60 Minutes, UFOs, Zack Snyder, Alligators, Green Knight trailer and other trailers we got coming up. Funny headlines, some death. More interesting discoveries via archaeological finds and a destruction of a natural phenomenon. We'll talk about that in a second. So first up, we have Tabasco is releasing a new series of barbecue sauces. They're going to have the regular barbecue sauce and like a honey barbecue sauce. So that's not unusual. But Tabasco is most known for their hot sauce sort of thing. So, of course, they have 2 more. They have a jalapeno barbecue sauce thing going on and a habanero jerk sauce as well. So you get your regular barbecue sauce, but you also get a little bit of heat with these other ones. So I don't know if the regular barbecue sauces will be a little hot, though. Honey tends to cool things off a little bit. I'm really hoping to get my my grill this weekend. It was supposed to be this weekend. It's not now. I'm just going to do the show now with this. It says your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. I'm just going to keep going because my clock is going. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm just going to get this out of my way so I don't have to worry about it. And it's annoying, and I'm not going to restart this again because I really don't feel like it. So I'm going to keep going regardless because I'm still talking. Nothing unusual seems to be appearing on my end of the stuff, but it says your connection unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. So, and my clock is still going. So it doesn't make sense if you're reconnecting. Shouldn't you pause the clock for doing that, but I guess not. So I'm just keep going. Predator 5 casts Amber Midthunder in lead role. She's an actress who's been in a few of the new things that have popped up recently, so that's pretty cool. We'll have 2 views, so apparently it's still working okay. It might be screwy a little bit, but we'll see. Rare corpse flower, which looks like a phallus, has shown up at an abandoned gas station. So that's always interesting. John Steinbeck's estate is being urged to release his much maligned werewolf novel that he wrote, and that's 2 words I never thought I'd hear together: John Steinbeck and werewolf novel. And to be honest, I kind of want to read that now, so I'd like to see that actually. Geologic treasure trove of fossils discovered in the Mokalune River watershed. Don't know exactly where that is, but there were tons of new fossils and stuff like that found. In the same vein, and mastodon bones were discovered in a California valley. So that's even more interesting that that was discovered there. Pringles releases Wendy's spicy chicken flavored chips. So that's kind of interesting. And it was off for a second, but now it's back on. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will be voicing Crypto the Super in the new League of Super Pets cartoon coming out very soon, based on a series of books by Art Balthazar and Franco, which are hilarious. So now we're going to actually get animated series of them. So I think that's really cool. Diver spies elusive vampire fish for the first time in decades in a California river. So that's interesting to see. These vampire fish are really circular with these little fang things going rah, 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 rah. Smirnoff Red, White, and Blue vodka for your Memorial Day and 4th of July pleasure is being released later on this year. It's got like a mix of berry flavor and cherry, I think, is in there as well. And you can make up some really good patriotic drinks with that. So why not? What is that? Marvel Studios is developing a supernatural team-up movie. Supernatural superheroes and supervillains are always interesting. DC has a great group of them, and they are supposedly creating the Justice League Dark, which is a series based on a team of these supernatural beings working together to take on supernatural stuff. So Marvel doesn't have they have, like, I guess the spirits. No, it's not spirits. It was they did have a group before, Night Stalkers or something like that. So maybe they can do something like that. I mean, you've got lots of really good supernatural sort of characters, and you could always make really good movies for both DC and Marvel characters, and release them around Halloween would be perfect. It'd be the best time to get them out there. Don't plan for summer releases. Make these October. I mean, that's what October is there for. It's Halloween. It's scary stuff. It's what you want to do stuff for. I think I've done this headline before, but I think it's kind of funny, and it popped up in my views again, so I'm going to do it again. Canine bites cow. Deputy tases canine. Cow kicks deputy. It was what they called a new version of rock, paper, scissors. Hocus Pocus 2 is officially confirmed to start filming this year for release in October 2022, with all the original cast. Was it Bette Midler, Kathleen Najimy, and Sarah Jessica Parker, I believe. And Ethan Thor Birch, who was one of the young girls, is now a woman, was a young girl when the movie came out, is supposedly saying that she has also seen the script as well. So it might be bringing back all the characters, not just the witches themselves. But that'll be due on Disney Plus next October, not this one, because they haven't filmed it yet. They have to film it, edit it, and do all that stuff. So they will be filming it this year, but it will not be released until October 2022. This guy's an interesting story that came over my wire this week. Are Matt Stone and Trey Parker, creators of South Park, and who have ventured into the movies a little bit. Well, Trey's been the one who's directed most of the movies, but this is the first one that Matt Stone and Trey Parker are directing together. They're also most well known for their Broadway musical, The Book of Mormon, and now speculation is arising that this movie that they have listed as like Flower House or something like that, some weird fake name, might actually be a movie version of the Book of Mormon. So it's possible that it was supposed to be out at this time last year, but due to COVID, it's been pushed now. So they're working on it, I guess. I guess that also they were working on it a little bit, then they had to stop. But the rumors are swirling about that. They believe that it is continuing that. And the fact that both Matt and Trey are directing it, which is a first, because only at this point Trey was the only one directing their movies, but Matt and Trey are both directing this one. And since they both helped create the Book of Mormon, that's where things are starting to show up a little bit more, that it seems to be going that way. Dave Fallonia is the new executive creative director at Lucasfilms. Apparently this wasn't really a secret, but it didn't really get announced until now. Dave Filoni, I have no problem with that. His writing on The Mandalorian has been outstanding, and his take on the Clone Wars has turned that franchise around in a long time. So give it to him, I will. Kevin Bacon made news twice this week. He said the only movie of his that he's ever rewatched and would love to revisit is Tremors. And there was rumors that he was trying to get a Tremors TV show off the ground that he would star in, but it didn't quite work. But he would love to do a redo of Tremors again and have that, not a redo, but do the next chapter of Tremors, but make it, unlike the direct TV sequels that they've been doing, an actual movie film with the same cast and crew and stuff like that. He also shares a lot of love for James Gunn. The mention of Kevin Bacon by Star-Lord being like the greatest thing ever for Footloose and stuff like that. He loved that, and he would love to be in the Guardians of the Galaxy in some form or another. I believe this would be a perfect opportunity to form or another. I believe this would be a perfect opportunity to bring him in for the Christmas special that they're going to be filming soon. So that would be an interesting way to put it that way. Chinese businessman buys a soccer team to force the coach to play his 273-pound son. That's just the epitome of, rich dads, making sure that, the best way to make their kids feel special is to bribe someone to make them feel special instead of make them feel special themselves. But still the way it is. Henry Cavill is in talks to take on the lead in a Highlander reboot, and honestly, Highlander is a type of thing that you don't really need a reboot. It's a pretty original story that you could keep going with and keep doing. And I think Henry Cavill, with his Witcher outfit and the way he looks in that, he would be a good take on it. And you can do a modern day and old school thing. Don't do like a word for word remake like in the movies, and you can even get the TV show involved a little bit also. There's plenty of life still in the Highlander stuff, so why not stick with that a little bit. So that's interesting. I found this kind of interesting. A 56-year-old free diver holds his breath for about 25 minutes. So he held his breath for 25 minutes, which is a new record. Honestly, I could not even conceive of holding my breath for 25 minutes. And free divers are insane anyway. They're the guys and gals, I should say, that jump into the ocean and without any air apparatus or whatever, and swim as far down as they can, explore, and then come back up. It seems like an insane task, way of doing things. And the fact that their lung capacity must be outstanding is interesting. The Rangers of the New Republic, which was going to be a new spinoff of The Mandalorian, which was announced during Disney's, I guess their little convention D23 thing they did last year, has now no longer in active development, and that has a lot to do with Gina Carano's take on Nazism in her on her social media, because she was supposed to be the headliner of it, because it takes place at the same time as the Mandalorian stuff, and was going to focus on her and a group of people. But that is no longer going to be the case, because they don't want her anywhere near Star Wars again. So we'll see what happens. I mentioned last week that Tim Tebow, the outstanding college player who tried to make it in the regular pro world and was terrible, and then decided to do minor league baseball and was adequate, average, but he was not a big league ball player, has signed on with his old coach, Urban Meyer, who now runs the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's going to try to turn to tight end. Now, a couple, actually not just one, but a couple of his former teammates say that this is really just a ploy by Urban Meyer to draw attention to the Jaguars and himself and get people interested in his team because they've tried Tim Tebow at tight end before, and in front of these people who are saying this, said it was an awful experience, and he's not a good quarterback for the NFL. So they just think it's just a way to kowtow to people. Now, he's also a hugely religious person, which is absolutely nothing white male. That's why. And it wasn't about racial racism and the killing of innocent black people like what Colin Kaepernick did. Now, in this case, it was because he wanted to show deference to God during a national anthem about the United States. And the other interesting thing about that is the NFL.com store, the top 5 items were all Tim Tebow stuff. So I believe it's a right-wing conservative way to, is a terrible football player, hasn't played professionally in close to 10 years, I would say, probably. And was never really that good. He got lucky in the one playoff game he won, but he was absolutely terrible. And college was a different way. Could Urban Meyer maybe bring something better out for him? Possibly, but honestly, I think it's all just a sideshow, as everybody else is saying about this, and doesn't interest me. So, and I find the hypocrisy of him taking a knee, calling it, what was it, Tebowing, as they called it, and then when Colin Kaepernick does it to bring people to look at racial inequality and the killing of innocent black people, they cry racism and kick him out of the league. So doesn't make any sense. Speaking of doesn't make any sense, I don't know why because I just keep seeing his freaking face all the place. But Zack Snyder is again in the news this week after his success at getting the Snyder Cut, which I'm not even going to get into again, on Netflix. He started talking about his one original movie that he made called Sucker Punch. Says, yeah, there's a director's cut of that too, and I want HBO Max to air it as well. Sucker Punch was a terrible movie, was a box office disaster. And again, it's one of those things where, just remake your movie, man. If you have something you want to do about it. I mean, your movie stank. There was people didn't like it. And if that's the case, why didn't you do your cut of it? Was it because of the production companies? If that's the case, okay, you got to do what they say. But you could always release a director's cut on DVD or Blu-ray. But hey, you didn't. Instead, you're reaching out to your toxic, moronic, masculine first fans who think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Think he's the second coming of who knows. My mind just isn't working right now. And I find that absolutely off-putting, and I have no desire to it, but I figure that he's now whining that he wants HBO Max to now do a director's cut of Sucker Punch. HBO Max is going to be like, well, you did do successful for Justice League. We may as well give him $20 million to, finish his Sucker Punch movie, which means he'd probably rewrite the whole thing and refilm it and redo it. Say, this is my original vision, yet you didn't do it when you originally released it, much like with Justice League. But I digress. I'm not going to talk about this anymore because I feel the anger boiling inside me again. Jeremy, God, my handwriting is terrible. Jeremy something or other has been cast as Alan Scott in the new Green Lantern series on HBO Max. Let's just see. Alan Scott, should be able to find it here. Oh, come on, it's got to be a news story about. Here we go. It should be in the news section. Jeremy Irvine will be playing Alan Scott in the HBO Max series. So they have already said that he will be his gay character, the gay version of Alan Scott, which I find is fine, but I just seem it was a bit left field because the gay Alan Scott Green Lantern was from Earth 2, and the older version from the Justice Society era was not gay. So I don't quite understand that, but I think recently they just said, yeah, we'll just combine Earth 2 and the regular DC Earth and make him gay here as well, just to keep uniformity. Because, God forbid, we can't think of, two different characters being different in two different dimensions or worlds, whatever. An alligator was spotted on a Florida beach. They tend to usually stay to golf courses, swamps, stuff like that. But one was spotted walking around on the sand and thinking about maybe venturing in the ocean, which is not quite the alligator's specific location. So who knows what's going to happen with that? So we'll see. Just be careful when you go on the beach. Okay, Lake District mystery as elusive stone artwork appears. So we had the monoliths that had popped up at the beginning of the year all over the place, and now we have weird, elaborate stone artwork. And this picture that they have here is something really elaborate, not just a slab of metal. This was something that it took probably days, weeks, maybe months to do, and nobody noticed it until now, which really doesn't make any sense to me. But here we are. Again, it could be similar to things that it's always been there, but no one really discovered it because they were never in the area until someone recently. Same thing with the first monolith they discovered out in Utah. They had no idea it was there until someone showed up and said, oh, look, what is this? And it's been there for a while. And that's where things spiraled. This might be a similar thing, but it just seems odd that all of a sudden a more ornate stone artwork has been popping up around the area. So whatever. The Green Knight is a film that I've heard a little bit about, but haven't really done much. But it's like an artistic, independent film from A24, which is based on Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. So it's a King Arthurian story. So a new trailer popped up about it because it hasn't come out. It was supposed to come out last year. Obviously, with the whole COVID stuff, it was pushed back a year. But the first trailer for it, or the newest trailer for it, I should say, was released this week. And I watched it, and I'm absolutely mind blown by it. This is film. This is how film should be. It's artistic. It's very reminiscent of the movie Life of Pi, with lots of artistic flourishes and a really interesting story about knights and demonic creatures. And I think the basic premise is like a demonic creature comes into the middle of a meeting of the Knights of the Round Table and declares that he wants one of the knights to come and kill him or attack him or try to kill him or something like that. And everyone's afraid of him until Sir Gawain, I guess, he's the character, I think, I don't know if he's known as the Green Knight, gets up and decapitates the creature. But the creature's not dead. So the creature picks up his head and says, okay, because you're the one, guess what? In 1 year, you have to come find me. We're going to fight again. So it's a whole year of him, traveling to find this creature. But the artistic flourishes, the way it was filmed, the set design, the colors, the cinematography, all looks outstanding. And hopefully it will be a good film, and hopefully that we'll start seeing it pop up when you start talking about awards for next year's Academy Awards. So check it out for yourself. Just check Green Knight trailer. I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you're artistic or you are a filmmaker and you like to see the artistic sort of side of things, it would be worth your while to check it out. For some local news, the Senator Theater, which is one of Baltimore's oldest theaters, as any movies that were filmed in Baltimore would always have its world premiere before anywhere else. Like they always have world premieres in California or New York. Well, movies that were filmed in Maryland would have their world premiere at the Senator. There's a sidewalk out front of it that has handprints and actors' signatures, stuff like that from these world premieres. It was a standalone cinema for the longest time. It had a giant screen. It had curtains that would open and close. It had stage, so it was also used as a musical theater as well. Old school popcorn machines. The bathrooms were like lounges. There was like a lounge area before you wait to go into the bathroom, so you could sit in there and wait in comfort with sofas and mood lighting. And in the old days, places you would smoke out there, stuff like that. But now you can't smoke in there. But it's just it's sort of a area to sort of chill out in. And just old school stuff. And there were some issues with the guy who owned it. Eventually, he had to sell it to the guy who runs the Charles Theater, which was another historic theater that he turned into a more independent theater in middle downtown Baltimore, right by our train station. And that is a really interesting theater to go to, because the walls are like almost like stone, like they just scraped away the walls and the actual natural stone is in there. It's really kind of cool. And it is very intimate and independent-esque looking. It's got a coffee house in there as well. It's very, as I said, it's where the independent movies go, and also where the Baltimore Film Festival used to be held when we haven't had it for a few years now. Anyway, after that, he bought the Senator and he expanded it. Kept keeping the main theater as it is. It also has an ornate lobby with all kinds of jewels and statues and giant chandeliers and old school stuff. But he kept that theater aspect, and then and they would show cartoons before films and stuff like that. And then they expanded because there were other buildings on the same block as it that were empty. They bought all those buildings, gutted them, and turned them into multiple screen theaters with other stuff to do with it as well, and a restaurant and stuff like that. So now it's a big thing. So it got shut down due to COVID. Well, it reopened this weekend, starting off with old school films like It's a Wonderful Life, E.T., Jaws. I forget, there's some other, Casablanca, I think is going to be in there as well. Citizen Kane, I think they're going to show that as well, until they get into the new movie aspect, because Cruella is probably going to be the first one that comes out next Friday that they're going to probably be interested in maybe grabbing to do that. And then they'll start, when they start releasing the other movies into the movie theaters, they'll start grabbing those. But for now, they just want to reintroduce people to the Senator by playing these old school movies that they still play periodically here and there. It's nothing surprising, but they do play it over. They do play these before. Like, there's a great Christmas fundraiser where they will show It's a Wonderful Life. Doesn't cost anything except canned food goods. So in order to see the movie, you have to bring a certain amount of canned food goods in order to get in the movie theater. And the proceeds go to like a soup kitchen in the area and stuff like that. So it's really nice things. That's nice to see that. It's also literally right down the road, literally about 5 minutes from where I grew up, and where I was, where my mom still lives, actually, in the old house I was growing up in. The MTV Awards, no longer the movie awards, but they are awards that take a look at both TV and movies, apparently. I didn't know they were even still around, because I didn't know MTV was really still around. But they had the MTV Awards last weekend, and Marvel Studios appears to be the big winner on this one, seeing as how it's TV and movies. WandaVision won 4 awards, and Falcon and Winter Soldier won 2. WandaVision won Best Performance in a Show by Elizabeth Olsen. Best Show, Best Villains, Catherine Hahn's villain won for Best Villain, and Best Fight between Wanda and Agatha. And Best Duo was won by Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, and Best Hero was won by Anthony Mackie. So that's a good sign for them if they're going to start getting some. Granted, it's MTV Awards, but if they're getting some sort of award, you can still claim it as being award-winning shows. So there you go. We do have some deaths this week. David Anthony Kraft is a prolific comic book writer from Marvel in the 1970s, wrote The Defenders, the original She-Hulk comic. He was also a publicist and stuff like that for Marvel as well. He died of COVID this week. Kentaro Miura, the creator of the manga Berserk, died this week as well. Comedian Paul Mooney died at the age of 79. He was a writer for Richard Pryor and for In Living Color. And the big death this week, Charles Grodden, grumpy old character actor. You might know him from such movies as Midnight Run, Heart and Souls, Clifford, Beethoven. He was in Dave. He was in what else was that? He's been in a ton of Ishtar, Incredible Shrinking Woman. There's a whole bunch of movies he's been in that I can't think of off the top of my head. Seems Like Old Times. He did everyone knows who Charles Grodden is, the consummate grumpy actor. His characters are always grumpy. Been told he was kind of hard to work with sometimes, but still really good character actor. He died at the age of 86 this week. So rest in peace, y'all. Monsters and Company or whatever, the new Monsters Inc. TV series on Disney Plus has a start date. It will be coming out July 2nd on Disney Plus. Wouldn't mind seeing that because it is reteaming John Goodman and Billy Crystal. Their characters is going to take place after the original Monsters Inc. and you're going to see what happens to them running the show now in Monsters Inc. So it should be pretty cool to see that. Where's the other Disney Plus story I had on this page? This was a complete surprise to me because I wasn't expecting this at all. The Walking Dead, the TV series from the AMC, has been bought apparently by Disney Plus and will be airing on Disney Plus of all things. The Walking Dead will be airing on Disney Plus. I think it's going to wait until this final season happens. Season 10 is the final season is this year. Once they finish their final season, they're just going to grab the whole thing en masse and say, come to Disney Plus. So that's kind of a big deal for Disney Plus, and it's still kind of an interesting. Walking Dead on Disney Plus is just kind of an odd place for them to be, I guess. But still, there it is. Big cats like tigers and lions, stuff like that, were seized from a zoo run by the guy who was shown in the Netflix show Tiger King, which I never saw, but was a big deal the early part of 2020 during the pandemic when it first started. Everybody was talking about Tiger King. I've never seen Tiger King. I have no desire to see Tiger King, but all of his cats have been now taken from them due to various reasons. None of them really good. The animals need a better quality of life, and they can't get it from the psychopath. Brady Bunch, the original Brady Bunch, not the new 1990s cast, which would have been great to see, but we're not going to go there. The original Brady Bunch crew will be reuniting in a Christmas special this year. I mean, why not? Christmas is a wonderful time. Don't know what their storyline is going to be, but it could be interesting considering that all the grown-ups are now dead and aren't around. So it'll just be focusing on the kids, and so that should be interesting. There's a board game company that likes to make board games based on movies. I think it's called like Hamburger or something like that. But they made the Jaws game, which I have. They made a Top Gun game. They made the Shining game, which I want to get. And they're able to turn these movies into interesting board games. Well, they've struck again. They have made a Goonies board game, and they've actually, for the first time ever, they've actually made a companion Goonies board game to go with the original one. So when those come out, I'm going to have to get those for my wife. Probably be more of a Christmas present, maybe an anniversary present. We'll see. She absolutely loves the Goonies, one of her favorite movies of all time. So to have a board game that celebrates that is a good idea. My sister loves Top Gun, so I bought her the Top Gun board game. One of and it's usually the same thing too. It's like two-sided game board, and it's like two different scenes from the movies. I think in Top Gun there's like the aerial battle, and then there's the volleyball match. I'm not making that up. You can actually play a board game version of the volleyball match in Top Gun. The Jaws one's an interesting one because it has two parts as well. It's got the first part where Jaws is attacking Amity Harbor, and you have to find Jaws, and he keeps moving around the board, but you got to find him. And then the second one is when you're out at sea trying to catch him. There's certain areas you have to hit, and if you land on it, he can attack your boat and you can get sunk. So it's some interesting things. The Shining one looks really interesting as well. And I think there's some other ones that they've done as well that I just can't think of off the top of my head. But it's interesting, and can't wait to see that. The Chinese have landed a Mars rover on Mars now too. They've done a really good job with their Dark Side of the Moon rover, so it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do with their Mars rover now. So getting some of the pictures from that, and again, it's unless the Chinese are involved in it with it as well as being fake stuff like that, it looks the same as all the other pictures from Mars. So if we are faking the Mars pictures and it's just somewhere in the high desert out in west, well, I guess China has a very similar high desert, which I don't think is true because of their location, and it looks almost exactly like ours, or that they are teaming up with us to use the same area to show off their Martian landscape. Yes, I'm being sarcastic. There is no way in hell that these are fake. So, so whatever. It's just that's the way these planets were formed, is they all look the same. That's just the way it is. Period. I kind of liked these, but they're now going to be all lime flavored Skittles. I like the green apple ones when they popped up, and they removed the lime ones for a while. It was green apple was part of the original Skittles group, and but now people have been demanding an all lime bag. Well, now guess what? You get an all lime bag of Skittles now available. I haven't seen them yet, so I'm sure it's somewhere around there as well. Kate Hudson, Catherine Hahn, and Leslie Odom Jr. have joined the cast of Knives Out 2. That already includes a thoroughly impressive cast. We get 3 more insanely talented actors and actresses to come on and join this incredible cast as well. So it looks like Netflix knows what they're doing. They've cast a really good movie. And we'll see if anyone else is going to get announced. There seems to be already about 9 to 12 people in the cast. So I don't know if you can really go that much further, but it could be dependent upon what the stories are trying to tell. So, but I think you can't have too many people in the movie because it will sort of take away from the storyline itself. Surreal Estate is a new TV show that's going to be popping up on Sci-Fi, I think, in July. The first trailer for it popped up this week. Is actually a very interesting premise. It stars Tim Rosen from Winona Earp. He played Doc Holliday on Winona Earp. He's now fully shorn from Winona Earp. He played Doc Holliday on Winona Earp. He's now fully shorn. He no longer has the long hair and mustache of Doc Holliday. He's now his usual baby face self. And his friends, some of the actresses on Winona Earp who directed some of the episodes of Winona Earp have directed a number of episodes of this. So he was able to get them to come in and direct some of the episodes of this show. But Surreal Estate is a wonderful idea. And it's one of those ideas like, man, I wish I could have thought of that, but it's a really good idea. The basic premise behind it is Tim Rosen plays a real estate agent whose shtick is he can sell and sell successfully haunted houses. But the way he's able to sell them successfully is that when he discovers, he just works in haunted houses. So he looks for all the haunted houses in areas. He goes up to them and becomes a real estate agent to try to sell these houses. But in order to get people to buy them, nobody's going to want to live in a haunted house. He's got to figure out a way to get the supernatural out of the house. And that's what his team does. And he's very good at it. So obviously it looks like it's going to be it's a common trope, but it's a good way to introduce the show to people. A newcomer to the squad is going to get introduced, and it's going to be from their perspective, and we'll see how things go. But that looks like a really neat show, and that might be one that I might have to start picking up on and watching again because it looks really, really good. Some local news, June 1st, there will be no restrictions in attendance at Camden Yards where the Baltimore Orioles play. So that's a good sign for potential of letting the Baltimore Ravens football team also have full houses when their season starts in September. So we'll see how this runs out as well. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of archaeology now because I think I got enough now to cover a bunch of archaeological stuff. First up, a crystal dagger that is close to 5,000 years old has been discovered in Spain. It's a really nice dagger too. I mean, it looks like it's an icicle carved into a dagger form, but it looks absolutely outstanding. Where's the other one I saw up here? Runes have been discovered on 7th century cow bones, which could change Slavic history with the age of the bones and the writing. It makes people in the Slavic countries believe that maybe there were people there earlier than they thought there were because of the age of the runes discovered on these bones. Archaeologist also finds 27 mummies in a necropolis south of Cairo. I think I mentioned that last week, but they brought the story back up again this week. A skull was identified in Australia as a now extinct alligator species. So I don't know if it was a species that this was one of the last ones, or this is proof that they actually might not be extinct as we think it is. That is good. I think I have one. I have a couple other, but I don't think I really have time. I'll get into it. So we'll get another batch of archaeological stuff when I turn the page here. Something that's not really archaeological, but it is a natural phenomenon. Darwin's Arch, which is a famous natural formation of, it's like a giant rock arch over the sea in the Galapagos Islands, collapsed. Not due to anything other than erosion and old age, just the wind, the salt from the ocean. It just started caving away at it, and it's weakened at certain points, and it collapsed. So that's kind of sad that a natural disaster, a natural formation that's been there for centuries, has finally fallen apart. But to be fair, also, you can't blame that one really on global warming too much. It's just eventually a lot of these natural phenomenon are going to be disappearing due to wind and erosion and stuff like that. Guinness opened their first factory in the United States, and of all places, my hometown of Baltimore. And it's already grown dividends from them. They created a lighter version of Guinness, because Guinness is the really heavy, peaty, dark beer that people really like. But there are a lot of people out there who despise dark beer. I'm one of them. But Guinness has turned that into a Guinness Blonde, which is a Guinness style lager. But instead of being a really dark brew, it is a lighter lager brew. Has been selling really well, and it's made exclusively in Maryland. They also make regular Guinness as well, but you also got to keep the regular Guinness also made in Ireland too, which is where it's from. Well, they've come out with their newest one, the Salt and Lime Ale, is a new brew coming from Guinness. Again, made entirely in Baltimore. That actually sounds intriguing as well, and I'd like to maybe try that. So congrats on Guinness getting it right and coming to the right place to get these new brews made and made up for. A hungry and angry alligator chased people through a Wendy's parking lot in Florida. Of course it's Florida. Why wouldn't it be Florida? So alligators are really making their presence felt here. An alligator, I told the story not too long ago about the alligator spotted on the beach in Florida. So there's now one attacking people, or not attacking, but chasing them in Wendy's parking lot of all places. Some possible film, interesting. Chris Rock, he was doing the rounds with doing the interviews for the movie Spiral, which is supposed to be the Saw remake, which unfortunately everyone thought was going to be a sign that movie theaters were coming back from COVID. It was the first big summer movie of the year with Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Rock. The film only made $8 million. But you can't blame that entirely on COVID and theaters not being open, because if you looked at all the Saw movies' average grosses, it fits into about what their first week grosses would be. They're on average. Some of the earlier ones made a little bit more, but the later ones have been slowly, losing money. And this is just more a sign that no one really wants to see any more Saw stuff now. It was a Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson movie of a different type, I would think, that wasn't a horror movie, or something like that. So much of you might have seen a better return on your money, but right now, not so much. But Chris Rock, while doing the turns for the news, media and stuff like that for this movie, he mentioned that there is a Holy Grail movie that he is working on that would star himself, Dave Chappelle, and Adam Sandler, which is an intriguing idea if that's true, to see how they would actually incorporate that. Would they make it a modern day Holy Grail story, or would they make it a Arthurian legend Holy Grail story? And would it be a comedy like Monty Python and the Holy Grail? It's possible. We'll see what happens. Also, Kevin James, Taylor Lautner, and Rob Schneider are going to be starring in the new Netflix football film Home Team. It's always good to see a new football movie, but when it has Kevin James and Rob Schneider, not so much. And Taylor Lautner, who played the werewolf in the Twilight movies, really hasn't done anything in a while, so we'll see what happens. Jenna Ortega has been cast as Wednesday in the Tim Burton Netflix show about Wednesday, which is going to lead, I think, into Tim Burton's reboot of the Addams Family in a while. So that's kind of good to see that. NCIS Hawaii has cast the Ortega character from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, played by Noah Mills. So he will be starring in one of the co-stars on NCIS Hawaii. There will be 2 Harry Potter specials that will air in probably around in November, around the time of the 20th anniversary of the film release of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I think it's going to be on HBO Max. I think they're the ones that presently have the rights to Harry Potter. I'm not sure though. But they're not anything new. They're just, it's not like new movies. I mean, that's the funny thing. That's how they were selling it. It was like 2 new Harry Potter specials coming in November to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the movie. And you look at that headline, it's like, oh my God, they made like a new Harry Potter specials with the actors, stuff like that. No, it's like behind the scenes stuff. And it's, the impact of Harry Potter on, pop culture and stuff like that. It's not, it's they're documentaries. That's it. But they're new ones. So, if you're a Harry Potter fan, obviously you're going to want to take a look at it. And they probably do have interviews with the cast and crew. But still, it's just like, nothing new. Maybe some new stories, but that's really about it. So, not excited about that. So, we'll see what happens. Snake Eyes trailer hits. The movie's going to hit July 23rd. In the film, you see him talking a little bit, which is weird because he actually doesn't talk, and the character doesn't talk, not supposed to speak. But it is a prequel, and it will probably maybe end with him not being able to, because I think his vocal cords are cut when he's a baby, so he's never able to talk. So I don't know what they're planning on doing with that, but it's a way to start this G.I. Joe